Alexander sat alone at the corner table of the small downtown cafe, his fingers wrapped around a lukewarm cup of coffee. The Wednesday afternoon sun streamed through the dusty windows, casting long shadows across the worn wooden floor. He glanced at his watch for the third time in 5 minutes. School pickup was in an hour, and he still had to grab groceries and prepare dinner. The mental checklist never ended for a single father. He was about to leave when she walked in. Anna entered the cafe like a vision from another world. Her long blonde hair cascaded over her shoulders in perfect waves, catching the sunlight and turning golden. She wore a shimmery golden strap dress that seemed to shimmer with every movement, the fabric clinging elegantly to her supermodel figure. Heads turned immediately, conversations paused, even the barista fumbled with the espresso machine. Alexander noticed her too, but unlike everyone else, he quickly looked back down at his phone, scrolling through his daughter's school calendar. He had learned long ago that women like that existed in a different universe, one he no longer had access to or frankly cared about. His universe now revolved around parent-teacher meetings, bedtime stories, and making sure his 7-year-old daughter Emma had everything she needed. Anna scanned the crowded cafe, looking for an empty seat. Every table was occupied, except for the one where Alexander sat alone with an empty chair across from him. She approached gracefully, her heels clicking softly against the floor. "Excuse me," her voice was soft but confident. "Would you mind if I sat here? Everywhere else seems to be taken." Alexander looked up, and for a moment he was struck silent. Up close, she was even more stunning. Her eyes were a deep blue, like the ocean on a clear day. Her smile was warm and genuine, not the practiced smile of someone used to getting what they wanted through looks alone. "Sure, go ahead," he said politely, moving his jacket from the chair. "Thank you so much," Anna said, settling into the seat. She ordered a green tea from the passing waitress and then turned her attention back to Alexander. "I'm Anna, by the way." "Alexander," he replied with a slight nod, his tone friendly but distant. He was already calculating how long he could stay before needing to leave for Emma's school. They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments. Anna sipped her tea while Alexander responded to an email from his boss. But Anna found herself intrigued by this man who hadn't gawked at her, who hadn't tried to impress her, who seemed genuinely disinterested in her presence. It was refreshing, and if she was honest, intriguing. "Do you come here often?" Anna asked, immediately cringing at her own cliché question. Alexander smiled slightly, recognizing the awkwardness. "Sometimes it's on my way to my daughter's school. Good coffee, quiet enough to think." "You have a daughter?" Anna's face brightened with genuine interest. "Yes, Emma, she's 7, Alexander said, and for the first time his entire demeanor changed. His eyes lit up, his shoulders relaxed, and a real smile crossed his face. "She's everything to me." Anna noticed the transformation immediately. This wasn't just a father talking about his child. This was a man whose entire world revolved around someone else. She found herself wanting to know more. Over the next 20 minutes, they talked. Anna learned that Alexander had been raising Emma alone for the past 3 years after his wife had left them both for a career opportunity overseas. No calls, no visits, no real interest in the daughter she had brought into the world. Alexander had stepped up completely, transforming from a busy marketing executive to a hands-on father who never missed a school play, a soccer game, or a bedtime story. Anna shared that she was a model, currently in town for a Fashion Week event. She talked about the glamorous life that most people envied, the constant travel, the photo shoots, the parties. But as she spoke, Alexander noticed a sadness in her voice, a loneliness that fame and beauty couldn't fill. "It sounds exciting," Alexander said diplomatically, glancing at his watch again. "It sounds exciting," Anna agreed, "but it's also exhausting and often empty. Everyone wants to be around you, but no one really sees you." Alexander nodded, understanding more than she knew. "I think a lot of people feel invisible in different ways." Their conversation was interrupted by Alexander's phone alarm. "I'm sorry, I have to go," he said, standing quickly and grabbing his jacket. "School pickup waits for no one." "Of course," Anna said, disappointed but understanding. "It was really nice talking to you, Alexander." "You too, Anna. Take care," he said with a warm smile before heading toward the door. Anna sat there for a moment, staring at the empty chair across from her. Something about that brief encounter had touched her in a way she couldn't quite explain. In a world where men constantly competed for her attention, throwing money and promises at her feet, here was someone who had simply been kind, genuine, and then left to take care of his daughter. She made a decision. The next day, Anna found herself back at the same cafe at the same time. She told herself it was because she liked the atmosphere, but deep down, she hoped Alexander would be there. And he was, sitting at the same corner table, working on his laptop while nursing another coffee. "Mind if I join you again?" Anna asked, her golden dress replaced today by designer jeans and a simple white blouse, her long blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked different, more casual, but somehow even more beautiful. Alexander looked up, surprised but pleased. "Not at all, please sit." This became their routine. Every Wednesday and Friday they would meet at the cafe. Sometimes they talked for hours, other times just a few minutes before Alexander had to leave for Emma. Anna found herself sharing things she had never told anyone, her fears about growing older in an industry obsessed with youth, her loneliness despite being surrounded by people, her desire for something real in a world of superficiality. Alexander listened, really listened, in a way no one had listened to her before. He offered advice that was thoughtful and kind, never judgmental. He made her laugh with stories about Emma's adventures, like the time she decided to give their dog a haircut that resulted in a very lopsided poodle, and a call from animal control. 3 weeks into their cafe friendship, Anna made her move. "Alexander," she said, her hands wrapped around her teacup, her blue eyes serious. "I really enjoy our time together. You're different from anyone I've ever met. I was wondering if maybe you'd like to have dinner with me sometime. A real dinner, not just coffee at a cafe." The air between them seemed to freeze. Alexander set down his coffee cup slowly, his expression shifting from surprise to something that looked like genuine sadness. "Anna," he began carefully, "I'm incredibly flattered. You're an amazing person, truly, beautiful, intelligent, kind. Any man would be lucky to take you to dinner." "But," Anna asked, her heart sinking even though she kept her smile in place. "But I can't date you," Alexander said softly, his eyes meeting hers directly. "I'm sorry." The rejection hung in the air between them. Anna had been rejected before, of course she had, despite what people might think, but this felt different. This hurt in a way she didn't expect because she actually cared about Alexander's answer. "Can I ask why?" she asked quietly, trying to keep the hurt from her voice. Alexander took a deep breath, his hands clasped together on the table. "Emma is my priority, my only priority. When her mother left, it devastated her. She was 4 years old, and suddenly the person she loved most in the world was just gone. No explanation she could understand, no goodbye that made sense. Do you know what she asked me every night for 6 months?" Anna shook her head, tears already forming in her eyes. "She asked me if I was going to leave too," Alexander continued, his own voice thick with emotion. "Every single night. 'Daddy, are you going to go away like Mommy?' It broke my heart into a million pieces. I made her a promise that night that I would never, ever let anything or anyone come into our lives that might hurt her like that again." "I would never hurt her," Anna said quickly. "I know you wouldn't mean to," Alexander said gently. "But your life, Anna, it's incredible, but it's also incompatible with mine. You travel for months at a time. You live in a world of glamour and excitement. My world is packed lunches, homework help, and Disney movies on Friday nights. Emma is at an age where she attaches quickly. If you came into our lives and then left because your career took you away, because you realized you wanted something different, it would be her mother leaving all over again." Anna felt tears rolling down her cheeks, but she didn't wipe them away. "So you're saying no to protect her?" "I'm saying no to protect her," Alexander confirmed. "She has to come first, always. Even if it means I'm alone. Even if it means saying no to someone as wonderful as you. My happiness can't come at the risk of her pain. She didn't choose to have an absent mother. She didn't choose any of this. But I can choose to be the parent who stays, who's consistent, who builds a stable life for her." Anna was silent for a long moment, absorbing his words. In her world of self-interest and personal brand building, here was a man who had completely sacrificed his own desires for his child's well-being. It wasn't just admirable. It was beautiful. "You're an incredible father," Anna said finally, wiping her eyes. "Emma is so lucky to have you." "I'm the lucky one," Alexander said with a sad smile. "She's my whole world. But Anna, please don't think this means I don't care about you or value what we've shared here. You've made these past few weeks really special for me. You've reminded me that I'm still a person beyond being just a dad. Can we still meet here?" Anna asked hopefully. "As friends. I promise no more romantic pressure." Alexander smiled, relieved. "I'd really like that." But life had other plans. 2 weeks later, Anna walked into the cafe with different energy. Her long blonde hair was windswept. her golden shimmery dress replaced with comfortable travel clothes. Alexander noticed immediately that something had changed. "I'm leaving," Anna said without preamble as she sat down. "I got offered a major campaign in Milan, 6 months, maybe longer. It's the kind of opportunity that could define the next phase of my career." "That's amazing," Alexander said, and he meant it, even as he felt a strange emptiness at the news. "Congratulations, Anna. You deserve it. I wanted to tell you in person," Anna continued. "Because our conversations here, they've changed me, Alexander. You've changed me. I'm going to Milan, yes, but I'm also going to figure out what I really want from life. Not what my agent wants, not what the industry wants. What I want." "That's a good thing," Alexander said warmly. Anna reached across the table and took his hand. "You were right to say no to me. I see that now. I wasn't ready for what real love and commitment look like. I was attracted to the idea of you, of stability, of something real. But I hadn't done the work on myself yet. Maybe someday, when I've figured out who I am beyond the long blonde hair and the golden dresses, we'll meet again." "Maybe," Alexander agreed, squeezing her hand gently. Anna stood up to leave but paused. "Alexander, what you're doing for Emma, choosing her happiness over your own loneliness, it's not a sacrifice. It's love in its purest form. Don't ever doubt that." Then she was gone, walking out of the cafe and out of his life, her blonde hair catching the afternoon sun one last time. Alexander sat alone at his table, his coffee growing cold. His phone alarm went off. School pickup. He smiled, grabbed his jacket, and headed for the door. That evening, as Alexander tucked Emma into bed, she looked up at him with her big brown eyes so much like his own. "Daddy, why do you look sad today?" she asked with the uncanny perception of children. "I'm not sad, sweetheart," Alexander said, brushing hair from her forehead. "I'm actually really happy." "Because of me?" Emma asked hopefully. "Always because of you," Alexander confirmed. "You're my favorite person in the whole world." "Even more than the pretty lady from the cafe?" Emma asked innocently. Alexander froze. "How did you know about her?" "I saw you talking to her when you picked me up from school once. She had really pretty blonde hair and a shiny dress. She was looking at you the way Princess Aurora looks at Prince Philip in Sleeping Beauty." Alexander laughed softly. "You're too smart for 7 years old." "So why didn't you go on a date with her?" Emma asked. Alexander thought carefully about how to answer. "Because dating someone means bringing them into our family. And our family is pretty great just the way it is. I didn't want to risk changing that unless I was absolutely sure it would make things better for you, not just for me." Emma was quiet for a moment, processing. Then she wrapped her small arms around his neck. "I love you, Daddy. You're the best daddy in the whole world." As Alexander held his daughter close, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, feeling her heartbeat against his chest, he knew with absolute certainty that he had made the right choice. Anna was right, this wasn't sacrifice. This was love. 6 months passed. Alexander and Emma settled into their comfortable routine. School, work, weekend adventures, bedtime stories. Life was simple but full. Then one Saturday afternoon, while Alexander and Emma were at the park feeding ducks, his phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Alexander, it's Anna. I'm back in town for a few days. I'd love to see you if you have time. I have something important to tell you." Alexander stared at the message for a long moment. Emma tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, that duck is eating all the bread. Tell him to share." Alexander smiled, pocketed his phone, and knelt down to help his daughter with the duck crisis. Whatever Anna had to say could wait. This moment, this perfect Saturday with his little girl, this was what mattered. But he did respond later that evening, after Emma was asleep. "It's good to hear from you, Anna. I'd be happy to meet, but it would have to be at the cafe, and I might need to leave quickly for Emma." "Some things never change." Her response came quickly. "Some things shouldn't change. That cafe sounds perfect. And Alexander, thank you for showing me what real love looks like. It changed everything." What happened when they met again at that cafe is another story. But what mattered, what the whole world came to understand when Anna later shared her experience in an interview that went viral, was that Alexander's rejection wasn't really a rejection at all. It was the most beautiful act of love she had ever witnessed. A father who put his daughter's emotional well-being above his own desires. A man who understood that true love sometimes means saying no to what you want for the sake of protecting what matters most. A single dad who proved that the most attractive quality in any person isn't looks or wealth or status, but the capacity to love selflessly and completely. Anna's interview ended with these words that circled the globe, shared millions of times across every social media platform. He told me he couldn't date me, and in that moment of rejection, I fell in love with him even more. Not because I wanted to change his mind, but because I finally understood what I had been searching for my entire life. A love that puts others first. A love that protects rather than possesses. A love that builds rather than takes. Alexander showed me that with 3 simple words. I can't date you. And his reason, his beautiful 7-year-old reason named Emma, melted my heart and the hearts of millions worldwide. The post ended with a photo Anna had secretly taken that last day at the cafe. Alexander leaving in a hurry, his jacket slung over his shoulder, a slight smile on his face, checking his watch as he headed toward the door. The caption read simply, "The most attractive man I ever met was the one who walked away to pick up his daughter from school." And somewhere in a small apartment across town, Alexander read that post while Emma slept peacefully in the next room, and he smiled. Not because he was famous or because millions were celebrating him, but because he knew, without a doubt, that every choice he had made was the right one. For Emma. Always for Emma, because that's what real love looks like.